It's time for Growing Hope, the show determined to grow up hearts open to pursue the extraordinary. Because you are extraordinary! And now, it's your host, Kathryn Lang.
Hello there and welcome to Growing Hope. I am Kathryn Lang and we are on a journey to plant seeds of hope, spread a little hope, and change the world a little hope at a time. We have been really digging in deeper into understanding hope and how to make a choice for hope and find hope in the hopeless and stay focused on hope and to grasp the power of hope. And this last week, we're focused on defining hope within the confines of Scripture. Because the world has taken a lot of words and a lot of ideas and a lot of plans and manipulated them to fit what the world wants them to be. Hope's one of those words. Hope was never meant to be an illusion or a whisper or it might happen kind of thing. Hope is solidified. Hope is solid. Hope is a promise made to us by our Father. Hope is concrete. And yet the world wants us to believe it's fleeting. So we've been taking the time to define what it means to be in hope, to have hope, to share hope. Really just basically the definition of hope. And it's the first point was how it starts in a relationship with God. Without a relationship with God, hope does not exist. The second point was that hope is rooted in knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. You have to know it, the Word, in order to have hope in the Word. The third point was that hope develops a hunger and a need to be more invested in the Word and in a relationship with God. So a relationship with God, a knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of hope that drives us to a hunger and need for more. And the fourth point was how hope is a positive. It is nurtured by positive. Hope is light, and light and dark cannot exist together. So hope only exists within the positives. So we need to be invested in positives. And finally, the fifth point is hope is harvested in trust. Now, in order to have trust in someone or something, there has to be a relationship, an existing relationship, existing circumstances that show up that can be looked back upon. And that's why it's so important to have that relationship with God, because the more that you have developed that relationship with God and the more consistent you are in writing down how this journey has progressed. That's why a prayer journal is so valuable, because you can look back from 5 years from now and see what your journey was like and see where God has shown up in big ways and in small ways. So that little breeze that calmed you, or the friend that sent you a message, you learn to trust in His promises because He fulfills His promises. That's where the trust grows up. Many years ago, I had a Chevy Chevette. And I loved my Chevy Chevette, but my Chevy Chevette had a very rough life. And on multiple occasions, it broke down. Sometimes I think that the company that was working on the Chevy Chevette at the time purposely rigged things to break, because no sooner would I get it out of the shop than it would break down. Like literally, I went and picked it up from the shop one time, drove it across the river bridge, and it died. And so I had to walk, because this is before cell phones, I had to walk to the nearest payphone, and I just called the shop. I didn't even bother calling my mom. And I said, it's broken down. He said, no, it's probably out of gas. I noticed that when we were working on it, the gas gauge is broken. So we put a gallon of gas in it, but they did not tell me the gas gauge was broken. And so, yes, I had run out of gas. But anyway, so I have this Chevy Chevette that breaks down all the time. And it got exhausting having to walk to the nearest phone to call and say, hey, the car broke down again. So I told my mom, I said, I'm done. The next time it breaks down, I'm literally going to sit there until someone comes and gets me. I'm not going to call anybody. I'm not going to say anything. So if I don't show up, you know why. And no sooner had that occurred or I had to explain that to my mother, than my car broke down. And sure enough, about 30 minutes after the car broke down, my mom knew the path that I was going to be taking, and I had not yet shown up, and she called the local sheriff's department, and the sheriff's department came and found me and had me towed. But I trusted in my mom to make that phone call if I didn't show up. When we were struggling financially, and I've mentioned this before, how I had to develop a personal relationship with the Word concerning our finances, but any extra was a blessing. You know, we're homeschooling 3 boys, we're feeding 3 boys, it's all a blessing. And I was wanting to go to the grocery store, knew I didn't have any extra cash in the grocery store envelope. And so I went down to the mailbox, and there was a note, a card in the mailbox. And when I opened the card, it had a $20 bill in it. And all it said was, I love you. And it was God. That's it. That was all that was written in the card. These little things are consistent reminders of trust. And they allow me to hope in the little and in the big. I know that he's faithful. And if I know that he's faithful, I trust in what he said. And that's where hope resides. Hope resides in trust. So hope is defined by trust. Without trust, hope will fizzle. And you only have trust when you have that relationship. So it all works together. The definition of hope is about having that fundamental belief in, it's not even a belief, it is a concrete knowledge and expectation that what has been promised will come to fruition, period. You know it in your knower without a shadow of a doubt that what has been promised will be fulfilled. So when you have hope, you start with that relationship with God. You develop your wisdom and understanding and knowledge in His Word. You are so hungry and needful for that relationship and that information and that constant feeding of His Word that becomes a priority. And through that, you begin to nurture the positives. You see the hope. You see the blessings. And that's your fixation. And the more it's your fixation, the more it's your driving force. And finally, trust. You settle into a place of trust. It doesn't matter what someone tells you. It doesn't matter what circumstances show you. You know. And therefore you hope. I am Kathryn Lang. Thank you so much for joining me for this week of Growing Hope, for this focus of Growing Hope. Over the next few days, be invested in looking for ways to grow your definition of hope, to be invested in that relationship, to be invested in the Word, to be invested in positives. They work together. And the more we really pursue hope, the more hope grows up in our lives. Join me over at snarkyrainbows.com for more hope and inspiration, always shared with a little twist of encouragement, because, it keeps things that interesting. And also you can join me on social media. I am Kathryn C. Lang all over the internet, or the Kathryn C. Lang on Facebook. I want to hear how hope is growing in your lives. More importantly, I would love to see how you're spreading hope, because when we invest in hope, we will change the world. Until next time, remember, be blessed and be a blessing.
Thank you for joining us for Growing Hope with Kathryn Lang, where we are sharing hope, encouragement, and inspiration to do more. Visit www.kathrynlang.com to invite Kathryn to be part of your event or to share your own stories of possibility living. Until next time, remember that a seed of hope planted and nurtured will grow up into a world of possibilities.